You're watching Canadian Muslim News on Muslim Network TV from Toronto, Ontario. I'm Samia Sayed. Welcome to the show. Today we have an interview with the management team of Masjid Ibrahim along with Imam Siraj Wahhaj. But first, some headlines. COVID-19 positive health workers can still work in Quebec. Murray Sinclair and Mohammad Fakih appointed to Order of Canada. Toronto doctor develops AI prototype to guide surgeons. Muslim groups condemn OIC over Uyghur genocide. And now the details. Quebec's Health Minister Christian Dubé has announced that COVID-19 positive healthcare workers can be permitted to continue working while infected. He said that the decision for workers to continue working while they are COVID-19 positive would be determined on a case-by-case basis. Manitoba and Ontario public health officials said that they may adopt similar changes in order to avoid overwhelming the healthcare system. The news comes as multiple provinces are showing record high COVID infections, with a holiday surge yet to be reported. Governor General Mary Simon announced 135 appointments to the Order of Canada today. Among the appointees are Murray Sinclair, the former chairman of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. CEO of Paramount Fine Foods, Mohammad Fakih, was also appointed as a member to the order for his business and community leadership. He was congratulated by many for his appointment, including Omar Al-Ghabra, the Minister of Transportation. Created in 1967, the Order of Canada is one of the highest civilian honors. Appointees are given snowflake insignias to show how their achievements have helped make a better Canada. General Surgeon Dr. Amin Madani from the University Health Network Hospital in Toronto has developed a prototype to help surgeons perform better inside operating rooms. The prototype uses artificial intelligence to mimic some of the greatest minds, including that of highly skilled surgeons. The device can identify which part of an organ are safe to operate on in real time. Despite its early stages, Madani says that the device is critical to improve operating circumstances for low-income countries that lack skilled surgeons. More than 90 mainly Southeast Asian Muslim groups are urging the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, otherwise known as OIC, to break its silence over China's ongoing Uyghur genocide. They urge the OIC to take a strong public stand against China's genocide and crimes against humanity against Uyghurs, Kazakhs, and other Muslims in East Turkestan. Most Muslim nations have not condemned China over its repressions of Muslims in the Xinjiang province. Since 2016, millions of Uyghurs, Kazakhs, and other Muslims have been arbitrarily detained in internment camps in East Turkestan, where they are subject to abuse. China denies committing any violations and claims it is combating terrorism and extremism. With us here now, we have Imam Siraj Wahhaj, a renowned Islamic scholar from Brooklyn, New York. Welcome, and thank you so much for being here today.
Assalamu alaikum. It's my absolute pleasure.
Wa alaikum assalam. So this was your first event where you traveled to Canada in over 2 years. How was it after traveling so long?
It was great. I met some of my old friends I hadn't seen in years, and I was happy to go to a number of masjids, and alhamdulillah, and quite a few people came out to some of those masjids. So it was a lovely experience. I was a little bit nervous, because while I was there in Canada, thousands of flights were canceled, and I was concerned about getting back home. But alhamdulillah, everything worked out well, and very, very, very excited to have been there back in Canada.
Mm-hmm. And we were very glad to see you coming here to Canada after so long. It was a pleasure having you here. So from what I recalled, you participated in several fundraising dinners or events for Masjid Ibrahim last week. How did the events go, especially given the COVID restrictions?
Very, very, very well. I think one night we raised about $290,000 toward the expansion and the building of that masjid. And those who didn't give money, we went to a masjid and maybe a few minutes raised close to $50,000, and alhamdulillah, it was good. It was very, very good and very promising. And I think that we will raise all the money that we need to build that beautiful masjid.
Mm-hmm. And has raising money been difficult given the pandemic and that fewer people have less money to spend?
I don't think so. Allah tells us that we should spend in difficulty and ease, and despite it being a pandemic and a little bit difficult for some people, but still, you have Muslims who are going to give. You're going to have people who say, you know what, this is the house of Allah. You can call it Masjid Ibrahim. That's true, but it's Bayt Allah. It's the house of Allah, and Muslims going to spend money to build masjids for Allah.
Mhm. And another problem that Canadian mosques in particular face is that there are a lot of mosques that are being built, but there's not a lot of community services that are provided or management of these mosques. And so I have to ask, is it essential that we need another mosque to be built in Canada?
I don't think that's the issue. You have many masjids in New York City. Alhamdulillah, we have like 1,300,000 Muslims in New York City, over 300 masjids. About 3 blocks from me is another masjid. Alhamdulillah, they had a fundraiser, and I brought all the members from our masjid and to help that masjid 3 blocks away. And we in my masjid donated more than people in their own masjid. No, I don't think the issue is having too many masjids. If there's an issue of management, you know better than me. Certainly, we have to put those masjids to use. Alhamdulillah, our masjid is packed. Before the pandemic, we would have 300-400 people just for Fajr prayer alone. And so, alhamdulillah, I know just that we have to do a better job of providing services.
Mm-hmm. And so from whether it's your mosque or the Masjid Ibrahim fundraising in particular, what comes after this fundraising phase?
Well, you have to ask the organizers, I'm just a guest. But one thing that I liked about that masjid, which every masjid should have if they could, a beautiful gymnasium. Beautiful, so while it's one thing to encourage people to come to the masjid, but it's also nice to see having activities for the youth. One thing I was surprised about this last trip, how many young brothers and sisters I met, long lines, who I engaged them in conversation. So that boded very, very well. Some masjids, honestly, you only see old people and elderlies, but alhamdulillah, during this trip, we met a lot of youth.
Mm-hmm. And this was actually my next question. We've seen with mosques in Canada is that there are fewer and fewer young people coming, never mind being involved in the mosque itself. So what can you say, whether it was in your experience or...
you're gonna have to tell me the figures, the numbers. I'm not sure, but I can tell you this: this is not an Islamic problem. This is not a problem with Muslims. In England, since 1960, 10,000 churches have been closed, and in the next couple of years, they anticipate another 4,000 churches being closed. So you have among the Jews, the Christians, and Muslims and people of the faith. We live in very challenging times. And sometimes we have an absence of the youth in the masjids and the churches and the synagogues. So it's our job as the elders is not only to give them spiritual guidance, but also make it fun for them. So there's nothing wrong with having some fun activities like basketball. Sometimes Imam Siraj, the guy you're speaking to right now, he played basketball with the youth. I remember one summer, we had a camp, and I was one of the instructors. And I came a couple of days late, and the supervisors told me that these guys were bad. So you know what I did? I said, okay, we're gonna have a basketball game between the campers and those in charge. And to use the word of Muhammad Ali, we whooped them. Whooping is worse than a beating. We didn't beat them, we whooped them. So you know what? We never had a problem with them again. So I think that it's a matter of relating, and that's what we have to do. We have to make it relevant, make the messages relevant for the youth.
Mm-hmm. And so this is just bringing the youth, and from what it sounds like, it's just a one-time event. But is this guaranteed really to increase youth attendance? What can we do to?
Not a guarantee. It's effort.
Mm-hmm.
Mankind shall have nothing except for what they strive for. So we have to strive for it. And I think that one of the things that's important in many of the masjids in the United States, they have youth on the board. And I think the absence of the youth, absence of the input of the youth is problematic. So we have to do a better job. I can't speak to what's happening in Canada. I can only go by what you're telling me. But I do say that it is critically important to involve everyone, to involve the women, to involve the youth, to involve other people of the ethnicities and color. My masjid, alhamdulillah, we have 38 different nationalities in our masjid. So alhamdulillah, it's a very thriving masjid, and I'm sure Masjid Ibrahim will be the same way, inshallah.
Inshallah. So you mentioned that getting the youth involved is definitely a big step. What would you say for those who are watching who want to get involved, but they're having difficulties going out there or finding their way through?
Having difficulties getting to the masjid? Is that what you said?
I know that this is a problem in Canada in particular. We see that many mosques youth want to be involved, but they're kind of driven away from the area because they feel as if they're not welcome or they're not heard.
I believe everything is communication. You got to talk. You know, we have to have honest conversations with them. They have to have honest conversations with us. They have to tell us the truth, how they feel. I remember when I used to go to Washington, D.C., every program I had in Washington, D.C. area, Northern Virginia, some youngsters, 7, 8, or 9 of them, after my event, would take me to some restaurant. We would stay there for hours talking. And one year, one of the youngsters, his name is Ali, he went to California. When he came back from California, he came to visit me, maybe 19, 20 years old. He said, Imam, I want to be honest with you. I don't like going to the Masjid Jummah prayer on Fridays. I said, why? He says, not relevant. So one of the things that the imams, the khatibs, those who give sermons have to understand what the youth is going through too. And you can't know it until you talk to them. That's why I say having honest conversations, talk with them to exchange and let them let us know what their feelings are and what are some of the things that they're struggling with.
That's true. Communication is definitely key, especially in bringing more youngsters to be involved in the mosque. Now, I know that Masjid Ibrahim is having a virtual fundraiser on Friday. What can you tell us about that?
They're trying to raise a lot of money. You know, so I have never ever feel that we can't raise money. I remember I was in South Africa, in Johannesburg, and I prayed in the largest masjid of Johannesburg. It was built by a man named Uncle Ali from Turkey, and that masjid cost $50 million. You know, they have a marketplace, a clinic, and all of that. And that masjid was paid for by one man, Uncle Ali himself. He paid $50 million. So you'll find, you'll be surprised that there are people who have great ability, who have money. Allah has given them wealth, and some of them are willing to pay that. And hopefully, you never know. Maybe Uncle Ali, maybe he'll be on the line, and maybe he'll donate.
Yes, definitely. So thank you so much for your time today. It was great seeing you and having you on our show today.
Thank you so much.
You are watching Canadian Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. That is it from our Toronto studios tonight. Make sure to like and subscribe to our channel for more Canadian Muslim content. In the meantime, stay safe and God bless.